Hello, this is the final project for the ASL video. This is going to be retold in English, um, which is number 12. So, public education is my main focus for today and what we're going to talk about. Public education today is really terrible. It is an awful system and it is broken. We're going to talk about the past and today and how that all has changed and developed over time. The public education system has three main goals: encouraging mainstream, obedience, and encouraging spending and profiting. Now, way back in the 1800s, there's an institution of protest. This caused mass production within growth, money, making things, and progress and developing. And in order for mass production to be a thing, you need buyers in order to keep the production and keep growing. So if you have mass production and you have people coming in and buying it, you have to keep producing more stuff for that way the buyers to have more stuff and to be able to spend their money on things they might not necessarily need. And so with this mass production idea comes in the idea of that in the 18 to 1900s, that life was just simple, that education wasn't really a thing. I mean, it was a thing, but it wasn't as important and it wasn't demanded like it is in today's world. When I say life is simple, we think farms, sowing, plants, growing, and that the idea of the family supports each other, and that the government had no say in how you lived your life. You just lived it, and in order to survive, you needed a farm. In order to get money, you needed to work, and education wasn't really something that was required from the government. So mass production, all in all, is just buying stuff that you don't need. And this is streamed from education. And we can also look at the classroom and see students wanting to come into the classroom in today's world and society, coming into the classroom, wanting to ask questions, wanting to engage, wanting to learn, and then realizing that they're getting shut down, realizing that the teacher has such a strict curriculum that they can't even expand on their own knowledge, but they have to instead follow these books and not expand their own knowledge and therefore become demotivated. And this can create troublemakers in school, and all in all, this can become in the idea of marketing. Public education policy is funded by Rockefeller Foundation and Carnegie Institute. In today's world, we demand schooling. It is something that, the policies, politics, government, it is necessary for people to go, or for children to go to school and to graduate up to high school. And with all this being said, we can look at school as being a chemical experiment, as people are coming in and looking and seeing what kind of curriculums can be used and seeing what kind of teachers we should use and seeing what classrooms should do what. And it is really intoxicating and not professional whatsoever. And there's this thing called eugenics, and this was researched by a researcher named Francis Gatton. And he researched about generations of families and researched people who were smart, people who were less intelligent, people who were rich, people who were poor, and he came up with this idea that it's better to be separated rather than all together. And so with this understanding, it's better to keep all the smart people in one room, all the rich people in one room, so that way they don't mix and they don't mingle, and that way they can learn best that way. With that being said, there is another man by the name of Alexander Graham Bell, and he came up with this idea that for the deaf community, that deaf cannot marry deaf, because if that does happen, then more deaf would be able to roam the earth, and that would be a really screwed up place. And that there has to be a cure for this. There has to be a cure. In order to prevent more deaf people, deaf have to marry hearing people in order to have hearing kids, and then the deaf genetics would die off. And with these two people and with everything I'm saying, to help tie it together, the public education system has really taken a turn for the worse, and it's because of our past. It's because of these two people. It's because of what happened in the 1800s with the protests and with the chemical experiments. And therefore, our education system is not the best that it could be. Thank you.